Welcome to Module 4 of Communication Research Methods, COM 400. In this module, we'll be focusing on qualitative research designs. So some of the concepts that you'll learn about in the chapters and the lessons include ethnography. And one of the ways that ethnographers can analyze data is through the speaking framework, and so you read about the speaking framework in this chapter. A second approach is ethnography of communication, which also takes a communication focus on either interviews or observations that are conducted through ethnography. Autoethnography, as the name implies, is where the researcher, him or herself, is the instrument of data collection and is looking at his or her own experiences in the setting. And then one of the things that's unique about ethnography is that it's characterized by working in the field. So ethnographers want to work in the natural setting in the communication environment in which they're studying some sort of communication phenomena. Then one way that ethnographers might collect their data is through interviewing. So interviews can be conducted outside of ethnography, but it could also be an approach used by ethnographers. So the different approaches to interviews will be discussed, and the ways to plan interviews, including how to structure the interview and the questions that you might want to ask during the interview, are discussed in this chapter and lesson. Then another concept that's studied in this module is focus groups, and in this chapter you'll read about why you might use focus groups instead of interviews, and how to prepare for and conduct a focus group. So what would be some of the advantages of collecting data from many participants at the same time during an interview as opposed to a one-on-one interview. And then another chapter in this module is on qualitative data analysis, and in particular doing content analysis from a qualitative approach as opposed to a quantitative approach that we discussed in the last module. So some of the theories that will be discussed for analyzing qualitative data through this type of content analysis are grounded theory, and there are two different approaches related to that. And then some alternatives are thematic analysis and content analysis as an approach to analyzing this data. Then the last two chapters in this module are on rhetorical criticism and the process of critique. And so rhetoric is really, you might hear this term used in the news in a derogatory way, but really from our perspective, rhetoric refers to persuasive speech or some sort of persuasive artifact. So it could be a film, a newspaper article, any sort of data that a rhetorician could analyze, and that's discussed in the chapter. And then that artifact is analyzed using a particular rhetorical theory. So it could be Neo-Aristotelian metaphor analysis, fantasy theme analysis. So there are a variety of rhetorical theories that can be used to analyze a rhetorical artifact. And then critique is a particular approach to rhetoric that involves sort of the judgment of the artifact based on some sort of rhetorical theory. So it could be Marxist theory, postmodernist theory, queer theory, feminist theory that would critique that particular artifact from the perspective of that theoretical perspective. So in particular, they are looking at power relationships that can be found in a particular artifact from that theory's perspective. So the tasks that are associated with module include to read the chapters 8 to 10, 12, 14, 19, and 20, review the lessons that you'll find in this module, post the required comments to VoiceThread, post the required contributions to the blog for this module, complete the quizzes number 16 to 20, and then submit portions A, B, and C, so the complete research proposal paper. So just to talk a bit more about that, the final part of the research paper that you'll be completing. So you'll revise portion B based on the feedback that I've given you, add portion C to your revised portions A and B to create one complete paper. So it'll be one document with one title page and one list of references for the entire paper. So here you're going to be identifying the particular method that you've selected to analyze the research question and hypothesis that you identified in portion B. So it could be interviews, ethnography, survey research. These are all listed in the syllabus, the methods that you can choose from. You'll be discussing the advantages and disadvantages of that method. And as you do this, as you both identify the method and describe the advantages and disadvantages, you should cite and reference articles that have used that particular method. So keep in mind that I've given a minimum of sources that you should cite in this section, and that minimum is for average papers, and average papers are C papers. So if you want to go above and beyond, then you'd want to cite and reference more than that in meaningful ways in this portion of the paper. So you'll be adding 1 to 2 pages for portion C to your already completed portions A and B. So as always, if you have any questions of me, please get in touch.